All right, we do continue on with conversations here in Morning at NTV, and we bring you a conversation on the heels of good news as far as drug development is concerned, and this is focusing on herbal medicines. Uganda approving herbal remedy clinical trials and regulations, as well as the status of herbal medicine in Uganda. The backbone of it is that acute respiratory treatment infections are among the 5 most common causes of morbidity, mortality, and this is on a global scale, accounting for approximately 3.9 million deaths, and this is on an annual basis, henceforth costing large fortunes for poor countries or third world countries, Uganda being in that mark. Now, yesterday, the Minister for Innovation, Science and Technology, Dr. Monica Musenero, did announce a breakthrough for clinical trials on herbal medicines for respiratory illnesses. What does this mean for Uganda in terms of our health sector and medicine sciences? Well, to speak to us on this is one who is behind herbal medicine. I know that you have interacted with his products left, right and center, the MD for Kazire Health Products Limited, and that is Dr. Edward Kazire. You are most welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers and listeners. I wish to express our great attitude to the nation of Uganda, especially for what we have achieved. It's not only a success for Uganda as a country, but I call it a success for Africa. Okay. Because this Uganda is one of the few countries whereby such a trial has taken place. And something important is that the results were good news. And having a product undergo a clinical trial and it passes is not something small, both social and economically to the state. One is that Uganda is a country whose population, more than 80% of its population, they use natural medicine. So practically, it really means that we are on a journey whereby most of our populations are going to get access to safe and efficient drugs. A clinical trial is one of the most important stages in drug development, because previously Uganda is one of the states where we were still tied by the legal framework. In 1957, the colonialists enacted the law, which was the Witchcraft Act. And it practically meant that all people who were practitioners of natural medicine were regulated by this law. So it was a limitation for scientists to come and innovate and be able to improve natural medicine. So practically natural medicine appeared to be witchcraft until in 2019, when the government of Uganda, through its parliament, enacted a law, the Traditional Medicine and Complementary Medicine Act. Now, this was the gate to the world of science, whereby the state agreed that the natural medicine is medicine. So this opened the gate for us, most of the practitioners that were in this world, but tied by the legal structure.
Dr. Kazire, speaking of gate openings, let's talk about the impact of these clinical trials for, natural medicines or herbal medicines and its impact on drug development for us as Uganda.
Thank you so much. Now, this practically means that this is a drug that can be on the National Drugs Register. So it can be exported globally, because a clinical trial is run on standards guided by WHO, the World Health Organization. So this means import substitution. And something interesting, the scientists who did the clinical trial confirmed the high degree of efficacy and safety of these two products, Kazire Vidicin and Tazkov, in relation to some imported products. So meaning import substitution, because Uganda imports more than 350 million US dollars in terms of importation of drugs. And this takes us to a confirmation of the national vision for the national pathogen economy, whereby we are looking at by 2040, Uganda to have 50% of its essential drugs in its health system being manufactured locally here in Uganda.
Okay.
But for the natural therapeutics, herbal medicine, it is more important because of its value chain. Because the raw materials for manufacture of these drugs come from the communities. So they are grown by farmers in the communities. A case in example for us as Kazire Health products. Vidicin, to have enough raw materials for all our markets in the DRC, in Tanzania, where we already have distribution chains, we require to enroll approximately from the 570 outgrowers who grow our medicinal plants to about 310,000 farmers. So practically meaning that medicinal plants are going to be almost third or to fourth largest of the commercial plants that are being grown in the country. Because coffee takes about, I think, 1.2 million households engaged in coffee growing. Followed by tea, then practically at 310,000 Ugandans, then it will be almost third medicinal plants to be cash crops.
You have also made mention of the fact that we as a country are to recognize the socio-economic impact courtesy of this trial, and it's being approved, and the benefits that you've talked about. So in terms of our socio-economic roadmap as a country,
yes,
how does this benefit us as Uganda?
We look in terms of at every stage when the drug is being developed, there are jobs created. Because from the discovery stage, where in the first phase, you as scientists coming up to be in the labs, they are working. Because in the first phase of drug discovery, you need to do an in vitro study. When we talk about an in vitro study, this is where we are having this drug in a test tube, and you bring the blood samples which are carrying the virus, and you expose the drug on it, or at times you create a culture media of depending on how you set your protocol, your experiment. Those are jobs being done, but also science and technology upgrade within the nation. And independence in research. From there is where we run in vivo models. This is where, from the test tube, if this drug can kill the virus, then what about in a system, in a body? This is where we now expose them, the drug, to humanized rats. There are genetic changes done on rats so that they behave almost 90% like human beings. So we cause them to be sick, and we are bringing this drug. These are jobs, and this is advancement in science and independence in the healthcare system that is coming on board. From that stage, then this is where you can do safety profiles, whereby you can see how safe is this product by establishing the doses and also looking at the efficacy profiles to see how safe is this product. Now, practically it means with these standards put in place and activated, this was the first of its kind. But now the road has been put in place. So what does it mean? That the journey to drug development for all scientists is very clear. Universities can be engaged. The youth, young scientists can be engaged in drug development, which was impossible previously because there was no law to guide on this. National Drug Authority now has standards to guide these developments and processes. So it is not so small. Economically, socially, it is so fundamental and also for our economic independence, but also independence in the healthcare system.
All right, let's look at it from the lenses of science and innovation. I know that there's so many natural scientists that have now been encouraged by this major milestone, and it shows us that there's hope at the end of the tunnel to what the president has always been crying out, that we need to change the trajectory, start making our own drugs, start making our own medicines. I mean, now we see the impact of US aid, the cutoff for 90 days, and how it's going to be impacting HIV and AIDS patients. There are other people that are being impacted by these innovations in science. And so what does this give as a ray of light to the scientists in natural medicines?
Practically, it tells us how unsafe we are if scientists don't move out of the labs. We have had a lot of science done where people only publish so that they are awarded professorships. But a professor who is in a community that is still suffering, then with all the knowledge in the mind, with a lot of publications, then I have a feeling that there has to be a change now. And this shift is seen by the team of professors who were involved in this study. Because one of the professors, I'm lucky now, she's even my vice chancellor, Professor Pauline. She's the vice chancellor now of Mbarara University of Science and Technology, where I am doing one of my studies in pharmaceutical biotechnology. So everybody must come out to make sure that the science in the labs move to the public and is for community problem solving. And I think it comes at the right time, but also the awakening of the scientific journey in natural medicine development came up after COVID-19, where we saw that there was hoarding of vaccines. And that's when we could not sleep and give up. That was the birth of Vidicin. I had to make sure that I bring together all the herbs that we had used to manage respiratory infections and also help asthmatic patients to breathe well, bring them together to formulate this product, but also remembering that the COVID-19 was a viral infection. I had also to bring on herbs innovatively. That's when we talk about innovation. Innovatively bring the plants I was using for immune boosting, combined them together, and we were able to come up with this solution. We managed a number of cases, although it was, I could say it was at a level of a notification, whereby National Drug Authority was saying, yes, we know Kazire product is safe, but we cannot guarantee efficacy. But with this clinical trial, science has come to prove that, yes, Kazire Vidicin is both safe and is effective.
All right. Congratulations to you, Dr. Edward Kazire, and all the best to natural sciences. And now that it's being given a positive limelight that shows that if we as a country collectively put resources and efforts in testing and trying some of the natural options and remedies that are on board, it goes a long way in bridging the gap, especially as far as medicinals